Hello everyone and welcome back to VG Rewind, where we take a look at old games, new games, and games that we may have just left unfinished. My name is Ryan and today we are taking a look at a puzzle game called Opus Magnum. This game was released back in December of 2017 on Steam and PC platform. And I played the game probably in the early part of 2018 and kind of fell off it just as other games were releasing at the time. And I just had a strong desire to revisit this game and figure out some of the awesome puzzles and also hopefully finish the narrative element that exists within the game, because I am kind of involved in the story that's presented through this particular game. Opus Magnum is kind of developed by Zachtronics Games, which was founded by Zachary Barth, and he's also known for Exapunks. And I would say that Zachtronics in particular, he's design philosophy on games is actually like creating full-on systems within games. So in this particular game, you're basically building a machine which takes elements from like basic components, and then through the machines and the logic that you put into the machine, you create a end product. And we'll kind of see how that works as we kind of work through some of the beginning puzzles, and we just kind of suss out what's kind of going on within the game here. So this game is available. You can get it on any of the online marketplaces, Steam, Good Old Games, or Humble, and I'd highly recommend you check it out if like you're enjoying kind of what you're seeing. It was definitely a surprise to me to play the game, as I don't play too many puzzle type games, but this one just sort of filled a niche that I didn't even know that I really had. I mean, I played like other games like Factorio and games of that similar nature, so there's a little bit of that in here, but this is more of like a kind of like a micro game, whereas like a game like Factorio's building like an entire base that is producing various components. So that's more of a macro sort of style, where Opus Magnum seems to be more of contained and more of a micro sort of experience. So we'll go ahead and pop into here, and what's kind of interesting is the actual setting of this game. It's kind of set in sort of a steampunk-esque world where alchemists are part of like these houses that are basically part of, I guess, the ruling class of the society. So it's kind of an interesting world in and of itself that would be worth exploring as you kind of experience it through the story here as different things unfold. So basically kind of just setting up how the game moves you from puzzle to puzzle. It kind of answers like a why are you doing these puzzles, and it's because of the backdrop of the story is kind of answers that question. But you take on the role of a young alchemist who basically just graduated like his academy, and he's a very prodigious sort of alchemist with a very dry sense of humor, which I definitely appreciate. His name is Anadius Vaya, and you basically play as him, and you're building like all of these components here through the chapters, refined gold, face powder, and whatnot, and then the story unfolds as you create these different compounds within the game. And the puzzles themselves get ever more difficult just as the story gets more and more intriguing, or the plot kind of starts unfolding as you kind of find out that these houses are kind of vying, for dominance over one another. So basically we're kind of I'll go ahead and just pick one of these. I'll do the refined gold one, I guess, and maybe we'll pop in and see some of the other examples that I have, but that'll kind of go over like all the basic mechanics and then kind of show you how they all work as we build basically a machination, a machine, and then we take that machine and we apply some logic to it, and that will actually aid in producing our item here. So we'll just kind of see some solutions that I've kind of figured out here. What's very interesting is I think there's probably an infinite number of solutions, and there's probably no... You're basically trying to find an optimum cost, an optimum number of cycles, and then the smallest amount of area in order to complete the puzzles is kind of the ultimate goal. I feel that there's kind of always a trade-off with, like, you know, your cost and how many cycles, and then how big the area is going to be. But, you know, I haven't spoiled myself in finding the, you know, optimum sort of solutions to them. But on the left here is kind of just your dialogue, and Concordia, she's kind of like your liaison to the house, I guess. She's like a provisioner or something like that. You kind of find she kind of touches on that, I feel, later. But it's just kind of a back and forth between them, and there's kind of there's a developing relationship between the two, and we'll see how... I haven't finished the story, so I don't know if they, you know, come together or if, you know, something else happens within that story. But interesting dialogue that kind of gives you, like I said, the reason why you're completing these puzzles. This first one here is refining gold, and we're basically going to take a component of lead and we're going to turn it into gold. And the going joke here between Anadius and Concordia is that this is just kind of a very Alchemist 101 trick. This is not like it's not a challenge to Anadius in any way. So we'll go ahead and pop into here. We'll start a new solution. And this is kind of our playing field here. So we have this little hex grid, which we can deploy these various components to. So up here in the upper left, we have our products. Products are basically the result, the end result. This is the goal that we're going for. So this is going to be their symbol for the gold element here. So we're going to reach this goal here, and by doing that, we're going to have these regents, and they are basically, this one has two components. You might have like kind of an already completed compound that you need to take. You might even need to take it apart, but basically these are your starting pieces, basically. Down here we have mechanisms. Mechanisms are the actual machine, the machinations itself. And you know, we have a fixed length arm here which can rotate around its axis. We can also increase the length of it if we need to. We have a double if we wanted to utilize one of those, and then a triplicate, and then this crazy one if we figure out how to use that, you know, to our advantage. And that, so I've been playing with these a little bit in kind of the more advanced puzzles, just because it makes things like a little bit quicker, because you can grab a whole bunch of items all at once. Last thing here is basically, this is actually really cool too, especially later, in that it's an arm that rotates, but it'll also extend, and you can apply the logic to the device to extend it when you want to, and whatnot. Last component here is going to be our track, and this basically creates a one-way track where we can attach an arm, and our armature will move along this track as we dictate it. So aids to utilizing these seem to be they offer like a really creative solution to a problem. I haven't seen too much need for them. I'm probably about maybe a third through the game, and I'm just really starting to utilize the tracks to kind of get components where I need them. The last section here is glyphs, and these are basically different. These are actually doing like a lot of the work. So like this one's a bonding. So this will take two elements, two regents, and then bond them together here. You'll see in the glyph section at times that you'll have like specialty items down here where they're specific to that puzzle, and they can be, this one here, it happens to have one of them, this glyph of projection. So we're gonna go ahead and bring that onto our playing field. So this is gonna aid us in getting what we want. So basically what this guy is going to do is it's going to take one element of Quicksilver. This is yeah, Quicksilver. Cool. 1 element here of Quicksilver, and then with 1 element of lead here, or this is tin. Yeah, it's tin. No, lead? We'll find out. Oh, we'll look down here. This is just kind of your alchemic primer, so to speak. So where our goal here is lead, and then we can see that with lead, if we bond it to Quicksilver, we're going to upgrade it to tin. Tin with Quicksilver, iron, so on and so forth, up until gold. These are our cardinal elements here. They'll come to play with like later puzzles with the earth, fire, wind, and water. And then we just got the Vita and Moors here as well that play into later puzzles. But again, just various elements that we get to work with. So down here at the very bottom is basically a timeline, and this is like number 1 here. It kind of goes into a layer here, and that's the 1 corresponds to the armature here. If we put another one in the field, that one is 2. So we're controlling, 2 armatures in this scenario of how we want to, place elements on, move elements around basically. So, and then these are some of the rules that we apply to these machines, and then when on the timeline we want to execute these various commands. So we'll go ahead and get started with building this machine here. We're not going to need to bond anything, so get rid of that one. So I'm just going to do very basic here. This is just kind of going to be our layout, and this is where we're going to end up. So on the number 1 here, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to pick one of these items here. It's going to be a grab instruction. That's going to grab this element here, and then we're going to rotate it counterclockwise. And that's going to place the item here in this little holding area for us. On the same time, over here on number 2, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to rotate that one clockwise, and that's going to rotate it into position here. Once I release that, it's going to go ahead, and this particular glyph is going to upgrade this element of lead into tin with 1 turn. And we'll go ahead and step through this and watch it. Oops. Put that back in its starting position. And then by releasing that, we see that this has went ahead and transformed. So again, this glyph is very specific to this puzzle. So we'll kind of work our way through. And as you can see, we need to work our way up this. So we need to add more Quicksilvers to this element. And how can we do that? We can use this item here. That will reset number 2 to its starting position. And then this one here is going to be repeat instruction. So we're going to repeat that instruction a couple times. Watch here. Reset. And we need to do a few more. Enough. Might be one more. Perfect. So at the end of this, we have our gold item here. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this one last time. And then we're going to release it. And we'll go ahead and see how this works out for us. Oh. And we need to do a reset there. And we have our products here, so we need to create 6 of these items of gold. We have our cycles and our cost, and then the area that's being utilized here. And that's basically it. And then we take a look at the leaderboards here. We see that we're well in line with pretty much everybody that's playing this. Same with our cycles. And then you can see that your goal is to get as less cycles as you can, and then decrease the cost. So I think we're pretty much averaged out with a lot of people. But you can go down here, you can continue to edit it if you do want to optimize your solution. If you do save it, I mean, you can always come back and, work on, trying to get the most perfect machine to solve the puzzle, basically. But there's also an option here to record your GIF, which is really cool because, I mean, you can, share that on a subreddit or something like that. If you wanted to share your solution, it just makes a short little animated GIF of your machine. And that's pretty much that. Well, I'll go ahead and continue editing. I'll explain a few more things here. One thing that you saw kind of early on is that you cannot move like 2 items like over. You can't move 2 items over one another. So if for some reason there was like an element here, like this, for instance, and we rotate it through, you would see that it would collide. So we can't collide elements together. So we can't pass over elements in that fashion. But what we can do is we can pass over like that. So if you wanted to, so the arm is basically going over that element. So you can get around that sort of situation by kind of extending out the pivot or the arm length, and bringing the pivot over that. So those are kind of like little strategic things to aid you, I guess, in like completing the puzzle. This kind of plays with also using the like the pneumatic arm here, extending and contracting it, as well as the track, because you can basically move components out of the way, or progress them, and to the point where like you eventually you're creating like a unlimited series of items, so you're like products. So you're basically creating this long string, and it's actually it's like a gold rope or something like that is one of the first ones that you create. So but yeah, so items can't collide there, and you also can't move items simultaneously. So you can't basically, like if you had these 2 arms here, they both can't grab out of here at the same time. They can, however, like if you move this on one turn and then advance the other one, then it can grab it. So basically this will replenish as soon as it has pulled the item from that location. So again, it's kind of up to you and up to your own sort of imagination with how you want to complete these various puzzles. I would also like to comment on like the ambient music of the game. I think it's really fitting to it. It's not too over the top, and it doesn't really distract you, or it doesn't distract me. So I kind of like get really into the game, and not just like thinking through the puzzle, but music, the story, like everything that's going on. It's a pretty awesome feat to be able to pull all of that together in games such as kind of like a puzzle game such as this. So we'll go ahead and take a look at kind of one of the later solutions here, maybe. You can see that I'm only on chapter 3, but there are plenty of puzzles to go through as you kind of experience the game here. So this one here, product, this one's actually going to utilize the bonding. I'll go ahead and play that one for us. And this one's actually kind of cool too, because we start out with, I think they refer to this one as water. I don't remember. It's been a little while since I've actually played this particular puzzle, but we have this element here. and then this component here, and basically this item here is going to bond to the elements here, and we're looking to get this general shape and layout for the particular product. So we'll just kind of play through this one. I'll actually step through it. It'd actually be better that way. So rotates around, this item bonds to it, releases, and then rotates one more time. This frees up this space and we can go ahead and bond to it. That's another thing to remember, is that you don't have to let or release these items. You can keep one of them, you know, gripped on it, and it'll still bond to whatever's in that glyph. And then rotates to the side, and then advances and drops it off into our product there. So that's one of many solutions you could come up with. And like I said, you're pretty much limited by your own imagination as far as how you want to accomplish these items here, or these various puzzles. So I don't know if I have a really good this one here starts introducing, it doesn't really introduce it, but you have like this calcification element here, and that basically turns a elemental element into a neutral salt, I believe it was. So the other part of this game that is kind of dangerous is that I can sit and watch some of these machines like work for a while. I used to work in I used to work in a sign shop, and we would, you know, the vinyl cutter and like CNC routers and machines and on all of that sort of stuff is just, it's really awesome to like sit back and watch it, because I mean, you've set up the program to perform the job for you, and then to see it actually produced in front of you. Same with 3D printing and all of that. So this game like plays on a lot of those chords, and I don't know, I can just, like I said, I could just sit back and sort of watch, you know, how the machine will function for a little while. Maybe that's part of the OCD side of me that is kind of developing, you know, as I play this game and want to maximize my machine to do the most it can with like not doing excessive maneuvers or anything like that. So but that's kind of the basics of Opus Magnum here, and like there's the puzzles get more and more involved as you go through the game itself. This one here, like I said, is utilizing this pneumatic arm. And a lot of this machine down here is basically producing this element here, and then this one up here is just kind of producing this other component. And this was kind of what I came up with for this one. But there's still, it looks like there's still some optimization that other people have done. So, but that's actually the last puzzle that I've successfully completed. The rope fiber and the warming tonic, I'm still kind of trying to suss out and figure out. I'm trying not to go on any spoilers or anything like that. I mean, I kind of want to figure out a solution for myself, and then, you know, maybe I'll you know, visit a subreddit or something like that to take a look at other people's solutions to the problems. So, but that kind of outlines the basics of the game, and like I said, there's a good story that's running throughout it that's, you know, propelling you through the game. That's definitely worth checking out. But if also there's actually like 2 other games within this game. Sigmar's Garden is interesting in its own right. This basically, the story on this is you're just kind of exploring the back and forth between Anatis and Concordia here. But this is a simple match 2 game. You're just looking to basically clear the board of these elements. So kind of in this game here, this is kind of your wild card. This is your salt. You can go down here and you can take a look at the general rules, what bonds with what, and this is kind of a key component I have discovered, is that you're looking to figure out this path through the game board, because it'll help you out immensely, because it basically, you can't find this particular element, then it's going to be rather difficult. So we'll take a look at this real quick. This is that element there, so I'm looking to free up this one as kind of as soon as I can. And we'll take a look around. We have what's left, and we do have a couple wild cards here, and we just have to have 3 contiguous sides in order to free each of these elements here. Oh, I have another wild card over there, so okay, this will work out. So those 2 will match. I don't want to get too involved in this game here, but and then this is going to take element of Quicksilver here to fall into that, and then down here we see we're looking for this symbol here. I'm sure they have some astrology relation, which I don't really know. That's right here. So we're looking to free that one eventually. And then where's our next one? That. Definitely have to clear that one out because I don't have any other matches for it, so hopefully. Perfect. And then that's the last one, and that completes a game of Sigma's Garden. This is just kind of a distraction, and as you figure out, this is just kind of a nonsense game that alchemists have developed in their world. So it's definitely a game within a game, basically just a mini game to kind of relax from the actual core part of the game. There's also this here, and this is where the game gets, you know, really involved, I would say, is that you're able to look at these particular elements and figure out how to create them. I haven't completed any of these yet. I'm just kind of focused on the main story. We'll see if I have the chops to get involved in any of these games. You can also create your own puzzle if you feel the desire to, and then there's connectivity with the Steam Workshop, which will give you access to user-created puzzles as well. So there's a lot of game here, and it's definitely a kind of refreshing sort of game, especially for myself. It's different from the normal games that I've played, and like I said, it's just kind of like a real complete sort of package for me. The music, there's like a narrative, the puzzles themselves, the game logic. There's just like, it's just a good little layer cake and a really good experience. So if you kind of liked what you've seen, I highly recommend that you check it out, especially if you find it like on a Steam sale or something like that. I think it's normally around like $29, $30, but like I said, there's a lot of game here, and you might not pick it up, play a few puzzles, and then go to your normal gaming routine, or on your lunch break or something, pop in here and take a look at it, and see if you can solve a puzzle. So yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about it. I think we've kind of covered all the basics within the game. But if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll do my best to answer. I'm sure like I said, there's probably tons of experts to Opus Magnum out there. So yeah, this has been Opus Magnum. It was great to share it with you. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I've been Ryan. You guys have been awesome, and we will see you guys next time. Take care.